So my name's AJ Bailey. I'm running for Katy City Council at large, and I'm originally from Houston, Texas, but Katy is my home, and I'm here to run for it.
So for this Katy City Council, is it bipartisan? Is politics included in it? Do we know who's Democrat or Republican, or is it something we leave off the table, like school board?
It is a nonpartisan race. You can actually, if you want, look at to see who is Democrat or Republican in each race by looking at either Vote Builder or honestly just their voter registration and can go from there. But for me, it's definitely nonpartisan.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what the city council actually does. For people who have never paid attention to city council before, what does this position directly control, and why should Katy residents care?
An excellent question. Right now, I'm a graduate student at Lamar University, so I'm studying more of local and state government on my state institutions class right now. And I was actually shocked at how much control the city council has over your water. I thought maybe it's a state, maybe it's a federal. No, it's actually the city government that's also controlling all of your utilities. And if you're outside of that city district, you're actually controlled by a MUD district, municipality utility district, who's more control of all of your water, electricity, all that stuff.
What would you say, what were your initial assumptions of what the city council does versus what it actually does?
So the city council of Katy specifically manages all of, I would say, city streets, infrastructure, your water, and then also civic engagement if they want to help civically do internship specifically with the city of Katy. I actually want to bring those issues into the forefront if elected, and that's more specifically what I've been doing.
So let's talk a little bit about growth and development, which is huge in Katy. It's growing really fast. A tension point with its rapid growth. How do you balance the economic growth while still preserving that community character?
So honestly, I would just look at it through not just an analytical lens, but also from a community outreach lens from my experience. I've interned at the White House. I've interned at Colorado Governor Jared Polis's office. I've interned at U.S. Senator Michael Bennett's office. Representing Colorado right now to this day, actually, Senator Bennett's right now running for governor. I know Colorado Governor Jared Polis is currently term limited. But right now, my plan civically is to look more into a community-oriented approach to addressing those issues and just talking with constituents and just trying to get the vibe of where are they in terms of their thoughts and just try to go from there.
You brought up those experiences that you had. How's that going to shine a light onto what you do, or how is that helping you prepare for this role?
I would say it's helped me prepare more and learning about not just about the local, state, and federal government, but also just learning how to talk to people and just gaining a more of a customer service experience, but not just the customer service, but also just talking to people and just getting to know them and trying to reach out and understanding what can I do better to help for my community.
And being able to listen to those concerns
Precisely.
from all angles, whether people are happy or angry, and
Absolutely.
being able to validate those things, but also come with a sense of purpose and possible resolve of what they feel.
Precisely.
Also, a little bit about infrastructure and roads, which everyone complains about traffic in Katy. I have noticed coming through here that the roads are always changing, the freeways are always having to expand.
If I want to go to Houston, I have to go to I-10.
Exactly, and which is already at 20 lanes. It's one of the biggest freeways. It's insane. What is the city's responsibility when it comes to traffic and road congestion?
So in terms of that responsibility, that also goes to Houston Area Council that helps oversee with the infrastructure, but it's also with working in connection with the county government in terms of trying to not just figure out ways to help slower congestion, but also trying to figure out ways to expand.
Also, what would you prioritize fixing first?
I would say the person that I would prioritize in fixing first, I would say water mitigation. Because I was actually talking to two constituents. One constituent is actually a precinct there. And he was telling me one time there was a really bad flooding that happened years ago, around 2017, during the Harvey disaster. And he was trying to warn people not to go to a specific road because if they did, they would actually probably drown. And one day he actually left the road. And unfortunately, there was one person that actually sat drowned in that specific road. Honestly, that crushed me, but also there was another constituent that I was talking to who's actually a candidate. She's running right now for Katy City Council in Ward A, and she informed me that in her community right now that she does not have the necessary infrastructure updated to make sure that her community is safe in terms of from being flooded. So that specifically just is one of those stories that honestly propelled me to want to run. But also just like her telling me like that her issues aren't really being heard or
Right.
addressed in the city council, and that also helped inspire her to run is something. It's something that holds her up.
And the continued growth in the building.
Precisely.
I know it's exciting to see, but also if you're really thinking about the water, people are freaking out. There's all this growth, but do we have enough water? And how are we getting water in these places? Where's the water coming from? So it's a huge issue. So a little bit about taxes and budget. So the city council votes on budgets.
Yep. And they spend over $14 million,
on police.
which is actually technically around a $2 million increase from last year.
And why? Tell me about that. Why is that? Do they have any reasoning? Are you still trying to dig into that?
I'm really digging into that, honestly. So that's
Wow.
something I'm trying to look into more because when I look in terms of helping for people, not people, but animals physically in need, they're one of almost dead last in terms of the city budget. And I'm trying to figure that out. If you care about animals, you should actually raise those numbers, not.
Right. Do you feel like we see the fruits of that investment? Just completely unnecessary.
Honestly, I'm digging into that and trying to learn.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. So how do you approach spending taxpayer dollars? That's what you're saying.
Obviously, I definitely don't want increase in taxes. I want to continue to make sure that our taxes are going to a steady to lower pace environment. And I would say in terms of city budget, I want to make sure that we're spending responsibly and not in a way that could be a little bit too overbearing for taxpayers.
And we're talking about with the police department,
$1 million is a lot.
we want transparency. We shouldn't have to go digging for that information. We should see it very clearly and what that's doing.
Right.
It's one thing if it's worth it, but we don't even know the answers to that, and people deserve to know those answers and their money going towards that. How should the city support first responders while maintaining accountability? We're talking about police officers here, but obviously there's other ones. So how would the city support first responders, but while also holding them accountable to things that are going on?
So I would say by actually just paying attention and making sure that there's proper audits. And I know specifically within the city of Katy that there have been some times where some audits were actually not deemed valid. And so that's definitely something that I want to dig more into if elected. And I know in terms of accountability, just not only checking in on those specific departments, but also talking to neighbors and talking to constituents and asking them, what are some potential ways that we could do to help improve and build trust within the community and the county and the city Department of Resources.
Now moving on to a little bit of community and quality of life. What does a thriving Katy, the city of Katy, what does that look like for families?
A thriving Katy has, right now, our small businesses have actually been shut down. There was a coffee place that I was going to that is no more. And
it was like small business,
it was a
family
very small
owned.
business. It was very small. It was like that. It literally was like a house. And they had my favorite coffee, and it was like a vanilla latte, but the way that they made it was amazing.
And why did they have to shut down?
Honestly, I'm trying to figure that one out myself, but I think it definitely has something to do with the tariff.
Cost. Right. Just the cost of living and how much they're having to spend on their resources and then supply and demand.
And not enough people are probably even visiting. People need to actually
They have to
invest in
home.
Katy businesses in order for us to actually have a functional city. And we can't have a functional city if we don't have a functional small business.
What investments in things like parks, libraries, or community spaces matter most to you?
Oh, man.
There's so many, but whatever you can. That's a loaded question. Let's choose overall, because those are big things like community spaces. What investments matter to you when it comes to community spaces, helping them and investing in them? What would help them be better? Even our libraries, the whole banning book situation.
Honestly, I would definitely go into libraries and making sure that we have books available for everyone. Not just like fan books, for example, but books for everyone.
Yes. Absolutely. We need that. So a little bit about leadership and some transparency. How will residents communicate with you if they disagree with you?
Oh, that's a good question. So
You're not going to get always nice people or
No,
people
you're
have
not. You're always going to have
criticism.
people that are going to support you, and then they're going to have people that are hate you. And honestly, I take it as haters are always your motivators. I will talk with them in any way, shape, or form that they wish to connect with, but I will always talk to them in a civil manner and in a way that's respectful of both me and that person, whoever that person is.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I want to talk to as many people as possible. Even if you disagree with me, I still want to have that conversation and talk about any issues that you may have and want to address and try to get that addressed as quickly and as effectively as possible.
Yeah, so you're fully prepared for
Absolutely.
all degrees, all angles.
Oh, yeah. Literally in the U.S. Senator Michael Bennett's office, I had someone that was a little bit upset with a specific issue that he had specifically within Colorado. And I just had to be calm and as patient as possible with the situation as possible. Okay. And that's the type of experience I want to bring to the city of Katy.
And you bring to the table your experience on that side and having your own grievances
Precisely.
with the city. And so knowing how they feel, that
Yeah.
you bring that to the table. I've been there. I get that. I'm there now and I want to work on it
Yeah.
and help you.
And I'm very authentic in terms of if there's any questions that I have that I don't understand, I'm going to be that person that's going to be like, I don't really have an answer to that question, but I would love time to also think about it and then provide a better answer.
And constituents want to see action. So many feel like I've said things, I try to say things. We're not, it's one thing to hear us, but we need to see things happen as well.
Precisely. Not just words, but actual action that's going to be involved.
And they want to see that in a timely manner.
Precisely.
Not a year later. So we've talked about how there definitely is not enough transparency at the moment. So what does transparency look like in city government?
Yeah.
Or what should it look like?
I would say trying to figure out more ways in terms of providing more access to residents in the city of Katy. That would be a great start, but a more thorough start would actually be providing more internships to the city of Katy, because I haven't seen any internship programs within the city, and I actually want to actually bring that to the force.
Can you give some examples of what that would
Yeah,
like?
so having an internship program with different departments of the city, we'll say, for example, like planning and zoning, or also Keep Katy Beautiful boards. They have those. And then also within the emergency services, having those potential opportunities for people to know more about what the city of Katy is doing, I think would be extremely beneficial for people to get to know not just the city of Katy, but also what is this department doing? What is that board doing? And get to know more.
Let constituents get the hands-on experience to actually know what's going on and then get to see firsthand and have a more informed opinion about what's going on. Absolutely. Yeah. That is awesome. That's a great answer.
Thanks.
I got chills listening to that. That's a great answer. I didn't even think about that. Like, yes, internships, people to come in and get to be hands-on. We need more of that.
Because I was at a board meeting at the Keep Katy Beautiful, and it was a great group of board members, but there wasn't many or any presence at all in terms of an audience to the board. And I think that's extremely important to know what's going on in your city.
Because not everybody either can run for an office, and some people don't want to. Some people aren't meant for that. So we have to make other things available for them to have that access and get in and know things, and so that they don't just have to be an innocent or bystander or a complainer. Get them in and let them see what's going on. Again, transparency. Now they may not want those people there because they're like, well, we don't want you to see what we're doing, but we're going to be transparent. We need people to come in here and see what's going on and hold us accountable.
Precisely.
Their taxpayer dollars are going towards this.
Exactly.
When you win and we sit down 4 years from now, what would make you say we did this right?
I would say no matter how many issues we try to tackle and try to achieve, I think what would make me feel successful specifically within everyone is just knowing that constituents know that we cared and that we did everything in our ability to make sure that we could address those issues as quickly and as thorough as we possibly could.
Right. Katy voters can be skeptical of politics in general. Rightfully, why should they trust you then? I'm
not a standard typical politician. I've always been someone that's interested in serving my community and wanting to help volunteer and participate in any way that I possibly can. That's literally why I've been attending city council meetings. That's why I've been participating in city board meetings. That's why I've been participating in as many clubs and those organizations within my community to understand more about what my community is. Because I'm just going to be honest with you, when I first got into the city of Katy, I didn't know everything. I still don't know everything. I'm
Right.
still trying to learn
Right.
what is this? What is that? I don't have all the answers, but what I can say is that I'm definitely learning and I'm going to be jumping in as doing as best as I can to learn as possible.
And that's all we can ask at this point. We need people to step up that don't necessarily have all the answers
Yeah.
or know all the things, but willing to jump in and learn.
And I'm also one of those people that's if I give a poor answer, don't be afraid to say that and try to encourage me to actually do better in terms of addressing it correctly.
Absolutely. If there's anything that I didn't cover or anything that else you want to share about the position, the office, or what you stand for, or what you tend to do, just anything we haven't covered that you feel you want people to know.
I would say the last thing, this is actually what really jumped me into running. It was two things. One, when I was looking at the people that were rerunning for office that were incumbents, no one ran against them. And I thought, why are they unopposed? In fact, why is anyone running against them? That was something that got my eye of a lack of civic engagement. But also, second, I also noticed that there was a 3-2 decision on allowing for a city proposition to be for extending term limits for the city council. That was something I did not at all want passed, and the city of Katy rejected that resoundingly. And I want to make sure that there are still term limits within the city of Katy and that it's not going to just be the same good old boy. I want to make sure that there's new leadership, new blood, new people that are willing to actually learn and get to know the city and actually care about it.
Awesome. That made me think of another question. So just you had your assumptions about this race and you
Yes.
dug in, you learned it was like, oh, there's other stuff involved. How do you plan to, because that's the thing too, people don't run because they either are not aware this position even exists
Yeah.
or they're
Well, they don't even know their own
misinformed.
city, which is Spain.
You have to go searching for it.
exactly,
You
you
have,
do.
and that's what I was telling people too when I was going through the offices of governor, railroad commission. I didn't even know that there was a land commissioner when I got down to that one.
Precisely.
And it's not because the information isn't out there, because I literally just had to Google and then all the stuff came up. So it is out there. How transparent it is another story. But it is out there. But you have to go looking for it.
Right.
There's not anyone coming to me and making sure I follow them on, it's not out there to the degree that it should.
Yeah.
And so same thing with city council.
Oh,
You
yeah,
just
absolutely.
don't know unless you type in Google or you're aware of something going on. And people have these concerns and don't necessarily know where to go or who to talk to. How can you make people more aware of this office? How can we
Absolutely.
get that word out about this office and what it brings to the table and how it helps people?
Step 1, running for office. Step 2, getting involved. Step 3, trying to volunteer and try to talk to as many people as possible. Even, for example, in this office, I see some people that are typically here right now that I potentially talk to, try to get to understand and get to know them more and get them to actually understand more about what is the city of Katy, what is the system, because I know that we're in a strong mayoral system right now. And so trying to also, because there are different models of city governments, and so trying to also understand all of that is
Right.
definitely something important
lot.
to know. It can be a lot, but I was also setting the ordinances specifically within the city. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I can't name all of them because
So maybe it's meant to be overwhelming. It's meant to do that so you don't run. That's why a lot of people don't, because they're like, I don't know all that.
'Cause
You have to know all that.
I'm still trying to learn everything about the city government, and there's a lot of things that I'm still trying to learn.
It's ginormous.
It is.
City government, state government, federal government, international law.
And I'm realizing that state constitutions, for example, are a lot more elaborate to the federal constitution, where it's more interpreted very abstractly. And then we also have the city ordinances, which are also very heavy, just depending on the city that you live in.
So what would you say then in terms of a lot of people tend to pay more attention to federal level
Yeah, that is.
or maybe even state level, but definitely more federal because that's really what's more in our face, especially these days. And they think that there's nothing I can do federally, but coming to the realization that local politics is what matters.
1000%.
Starting small, even as city government, not even necessarily state government, that's important as well. But getting in with the city that you live in as well is even a start, getting involved. So in
absolutely.
comparison, how can you tell people like this is equally, actually, if not more important than paying attention to what's going on federally? Because
I mean,
this is where it starts.
If you want to see roads paved, talk to your city government. If you want to talk about traffic lights within the city limits, talk to your local government. If you want to talk about utilities, talk to your local government. Those are things you will see a direct impact on your local government than any other level of government. That's just study facts.
Right. Because a lot of people want to blame the president. Why isn't our roads this and why isn't this and this? And that's not the person you should be pointing your finger at. It's actually
Yep.
in your little city, you need day to day, you're passing the office on a daily.
Right.
And that's what we need to make people more aware of.
And then not to mention those fundings that are going from the federal to the state are also going to local, and that state government is also providing funding to that local government to also help and cooperating and to make I would say, a stronger community together. So understanding that, because whoever your city council members are, whoever your mayor is, they're going to be deciding those local grants that are coming to the federal and state government, and you actually have to decide, where am I going to spend all of this money? So
Thank you.